Suns fans? Suns win 3 games in a row, this time against division rivals, the LA Clippers. Suns get the big win in a very close game near the end that really should have been close at all. Anyway, final score, Suns 111 to the LA Clippers 109. There has been a lot that has happened recently that we need to talk about. But what a win from the Suns. This is a big time win. Not only is it a big win for the Suns to continue climbing up the West, because the Clippers are a team above us on the standings wise, but also the LA Clippers have some of the best defense in the entire league. Currently, according to the NBA stats, Clippers are rated with the second highest defensive rating in the whole NBA. And well, your Phoenix Suns tonight emerged with a 2-point victory over the Clippers. But it really didn't feel that way in a lot of ways because the Suns came out and dominated. I was a little shaky about this one. I'll admit it. I did predict that we would lose this game because the Clippers are a really defensive team and the Suns, offensive wise, haven't looked the greatest over the last couple of games. But oh boy, this game changes a lot of minds, and I think it reiterates the idea of what Ishbia and everyone had creating this team, is that this is what the Suns can be when they're all clicking, when they're all fighting, when they're all rebounding, shooting. It was just an overall great team win. Unfortunate that the Suns could not play a solid 48 minutes, and that looks to be the concern for the Suns here. The biggest of my concern tonight is that we weren't able to keep this for a whole 48 minutes, and that's a little concerning because while the Suns looked amazing, let me say, they looked amazing in that first half. Just to sprinkle some halftime stats at you, the Suns, they had a 13-point lead at halftime. They had 10 more made threes than the Clippers at halftime, 9 more rebounds, and individually, they had 6 more offensive rebounds and 3 more defensive rebounds. The way the Suns were moving in that first half was quite awesome. It was quite literally the best I've ever seen the Suns, as they scored 60 points in that first half. Now, yes, they did score 60 in a whole half. They then turned around and for the second half allowed the Clippers 62 in the second half. And that was a main thing that allowed the Clippers to be able to walk back into this game. That third quarter, Clippers outscored the Suns by 31-23, and it was bad out there. The Suns it looked really like they accepted defeat out there, as all the ball movements, all the rotations on offense that allowed each other to get open all suddenly stopped. And rebounds, fighting for rebounds also stopped as the Clippers were able to climb back into this game. And after a close fourth quarter with a lot of punches being thrown from either team, Suns were able to walk away with this one. So I'm glad that the Suns were able to come out and get the victory in a convincing fashion. Individually, we have your notable players. Devin Booker, who played a huge role tonight. He had 26 points on the night, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, and he had 5 fouls. Some of those a little bogus, but off the stat sheet, more importantly, Devin Booker was affecting different levels of the game, and he really wanted this one, causing crucial jump balls somewhere during the second half. He noticed James Harden didn't have proper control over the ball, and he swarmed that opportunity and ended up in the Suns' possession. It's just little things like that gave the Suns that 2 extra points that secured the win for the Suns tonight. Booker was ready, and he answered last game's offensive questions. As last game against the Wizards, he did go 0 of 8, but he answered back this game going 5 of 10 from 3. KD played 40 minutes, 24 points for him, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and he caused 5 turnovers. Yeah, that still remains a huge problem for KD, is his handle on the ball, and it's really frustrating to watch sometimes. He also had 4 of 8 3-pointers made from the field, so Everyone was coming out hot tonight. So here's where we start getting into a little bit of questionable choices and interesting choices. I wouldn't call this one questionable, but more interesting. Last game against the Wizards, unfortunately, Suns rookie Ryan Dunn injured his ankle, and ahead of this game was listed as out. So that left a position spot for the open on who is going to be starting for Ryan Dunn. And the most reasonable thought was probably going to be Bradley Beal, as he did start in the second half for the Washington Wizards when Dunn was already out. So why not do this game? But this is a surprising one for me, and I think it's really a reassuring thing on where the Suns are now trying to be. Royce O'Neal got the start instead of Ryan Dunn in the starting lineup. And Royce O'Neal, amazing defensive performance, and he was able to find the net a little better than he has in the previous nights. So a very much other factor that contributed to the Suns being such an offensive powerhouse in that first half. So the reason why I find this interesting is because Royce O'Neal, if you don't know, when he is put into our lineups along with Tyus, Book, Royce, KD, Nurk, like those are some of our best lineups. Actually, I think it might have been Plumlee instead of the Nurk. So I definitely get this from a statistic point of view. That is why I see why Royce O'Neal got the start tonight. And it's kind of crazy because I was also questionable about it. I thought they might start Bradley Beal because Royce O'Neal, he's been playing fine defense. His shot has been very streaky, and I thought they just might go Bradley Beal for offense, but no. And then we have results like tonight where he did live up to his starting position. Just a very good night for Royce O'Neal. And continuing this conversation, Nick Richards had a very questionable and interesting night, at least to some Suns fans here, as Nick Richards didn't have the greatest game. Zubac is one of the most, he can grab a lot of rebounds. He ended the night with 16, by the way. So Nick Richards was already having his hands full enough there, but Zubac was beating Nick Richards every time. And Nick Richards' defensive IQ isn't the strongest, and he picked a lot of bad fouls early on, and he ended the night with 4 fouls. So that's a contributing factor on if you're wondering why the Suns didn't go to Nick Richards in the later second half in the clutch moments of this game. Is probably because he would have fouled, just because they were playing Zubac again in the fourth there. So Nick Richards was not suitable for that role. But also the fact that Nick Richards, statistically, when you look at it again, is a minus 16 for this game. That is a team low for the Suns. All right. You do not want to play a minus 16 guy out there in clutch time. And honestly, it proved to be a good decision, as we'll switch to the bench here. Mason Plumlee played some great minutes, did not score a point, but like his jersey number, is a plus 22. 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 blocks, 5 fouls, 2 turnovers. A pretty mixed night, but I could definitely see why Mason Plumlee still keeps getting minutes nowadays. If it's because he's never a negative out there. It's a strange stat that I've noticed over these course of the games, that Mason Plumlee is never a negative out there. Like, you don't see Mason Plumlee with the minus 16 out there. It's always 0. It always goes to 0 or it's a plus. So just by putting him out there, you're not really hurting the Suns, and it's a safe move. Also, I feel like he performed better tonight. This might be a little just speculation for you, but I feel like he played better because it's his ex team. Like, he had some kind of X factor against his old team, the Clippers, as we got Mason Plumlee from the Clippers this past offseason, if you didn't know. So great game by Mason Plumlee. And then Grayson Allen. Let's talk about Grayson Allen real quick. Grayson Allen was a offensive machine. I did not expect him to come out tonight. One of my biggest problems with Grayson Allen is that his defense is very lackluster. He gets picked on a lot during clutch moments, but he's been able to hold his own. And this game, he quite literally impressed me with some of his defense out there, being able to hold back sometimes players like James Harden and KPJ. It was amazing out there, along with his 4 out of 7 made threes for the night. What we needed from our bench here, as he leads our whole bench. He had 18 points on the night, and single-handedly beat the Clippers bench, as the Clippers' whole bench had scored only 8 points. And Grayson's got 8 points and then plus 10. So quite a night for Grayson Allen. I love him for it. He had 6 rebounds as well, and he had a steal and a block. I don't remember when he had a block, but okay, whatever, Grayson Allen. Okay, man. So that leaves one more person on this bench. And honestly, we should talk about something, as there was a incident that happened for the Phoenix Suns that I think I would like to bring up here. And I don't know if most of you have been informed on like all Suns news recently, but it's a concerning factor concerning Bradley Beal and his place here in the Valley. If you don't know what I'm referring to, it is a Instagram post or a Twitter post of Bradley Beal's wife about her experience at a Suns game. From what it looks like is she's referring to this past Wizards versus Suns game. So literally last game, she was talking about her experience as being in the stands and having I won't quote it all. I mean, maybe in the video I'll have the whole post put up right here. So I'll try to do my best to recap it. Essentially, there was a Suns fan in the crowd that was doing some intense heckling in the stands, and from Beal's wife, quote, said the heckling had got so bad that in the third quarter of the game, she had to send her kids away, because Beal does have a family, if you don't know. So she had to send her kids away in the third. They eventually did come back in the fourth, in which that same fan that was heckling made a comment. I won't repeat it too verbatim, but he did call Bradley Beal a bum and suggested trade for Jimmy Butler. So it is at that point that security had to get involved, and this fan was removed from the game. This is quite a sad tale for Suns fans. It's quite a disappointment in the Suns community. Wherever your opinions lie on Bradley Beal, this is unacceptable behavior. I think that goes without saying here, that this is very unacceptable. The fact that, like, imagine this, that you're heckling so bad that children, they have to be removed. Like, that's some extreme heckling done there. It's just a very uncool move from that Suns fan, I should say. I don't know what he was planning to do. Like, if his little message saying, trade this bum for Jimmy Butler, like, if Bradley Beal was going to hear that. Bradley Beal ain't hearing that from your nosebleeds chair, first of all, okay? All right? You're being a nuisance, and this guy is just a clear a-hole during that game. And I'm sorry for Bradley Beal's wife and his family in general. It's a very disgusting situation by this supposed Suns fan. And it sucks because Bradley Beal has been doing basically everything he's been asked to do here as a Phoenix Sun. And it sucks that even in your home arena, you can't even get support from them. Besides all the game stats, Bradley Beal has been an amazing human being. He just wants to do his best for the Suns. And it sucks that he can't deliver sometimes. And it creates such disappointment to Suns fans that they have to go to these levels of extreme. Not only ruining Bradley Beal's experience here, but ruining experiences around others at games. This sucks. So I will say though, that what a weird choice, all right? Because that was the Wizards and Suns game that fan was present at and was heckling Bradley Beal at. What a terrible choice to heckle Bradley Beal. That game he had 20 points. What are you doing, man? And the Suns won. I mean, they allowed a Wizards 2-point lead, but that was very early on in the game. They allowed the Wizards to somewhat come back, but they never took the lead. The Suns won at the end of the day. So what are you complaining about? It's just dumb. This situation is so dumb, and it's very sad for Bradley Beal. So that is basically all I have to say on that. Bradley Beal tonight was a plus 10. He had 9 points. I will mention his off shooting nights, although he did warm up in the second half. He had 4 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, and 4 turnovers and 2 personal fouls. So a serviceable night from Bradley Beal off of the bench here. Hopefully he'll be able to pick it up next game. It sucks, but I mean, it's been working so far, Bradley Beal off of the bench here. As in our last couple of games, the Suns have been picking it up in our last 10. The Suns are now 8-2 in the last 10. So that gives me a way to segue into the standings. So Clippers losing to the Suns is a very big deal. I've brought this up in last game's show that the Suns have some pretty important games coming up if they want to continue climbing up the West. The Suns did fall back momentarily into the 9th seed because Mavs won tonight, but the Suns are back up at 8th. They are now 24-21 on the season, and they closed the gap between them and the Clippers. The Clippers are the 6th seed now. So we're closing the gap, people. This is a big win in every way. And the expectations are going to get even bigger here as our next Suns game time will be on January 29th or Wednesday against the Minnesota Timberwolves. The reason why that is such a big game is because they are literally the 7th seed. So if we win that game, that would move the Suns into the 7th seed, putting the Suns even higher on the West. So big game next time, Wednesday, January 29th, Minnesota at Phoenix, and will be the next time I'll be catching you. All right? Cool. All right. See you guys then next Suns game time. Hey, if you guys enjoyed this content, please remember to like, comment, subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And yeah, thank you for your continued support. And we'll see you next Suns game time. Enjoy your Suns win out there, and we will see you next time. All right? Enjoy your night.